Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Happy Monday. What's going on, guys? Good morning, Paul. Who else do we have in the chat? Say what's up if you are here. You guys all have a good weekend? Good morning, good morning. All right, so taking a look today, I have a bunch of lines drawn here just to kind of walk through what I am seeing. On the higher time frame, like if you zoom out to the 4 hour, I have this trend line here. 1, 2, 3, like pretty solid touches. That's where it rejected on Wednesday and had that big drop. It's coming back up to it now. So that's a possible point of resistance there, possible spot for it to reject. If it breaks out of there, I could see us possibly continuing higher. I also had this trend line that I actually drew last night before we opened, and we broke through that. So, I mean, if you're a trend line follower, I don't really take trades off of trend lines, but that's a possible like retest to go higher. So kind of just looking at a couple different levels here. This purple line is the anchored VWAP for the London session. So we're above that. We're also above this overnight VWAP. A couple reasons to be cautious today. One, there's no news today. So a lot of times when there's no news, it's choppy and volatile and, or not very volatile, just kind of choppy, no trend continuation. Also, with all the war stuff going on and no news, so potentially less volume, and then, a tweet about war comes out, that could be really jumpy price action. And then also with the rollovers going on today, there's half volume on the June contract, half on the September. So a good day to possibly size down and be cautious. I'm actually going to be trading some Top Step combines with you guys today. I traded my top one futures last night. I ended up taking a good trade. In this account, these are my funded accounts. I've hit my consistency target. I just have to trade a couple more days just to hit the 10-day rule. So I locked these accounts out. I don't want to do anything to mess that up. So I just have, I think, 4 more days that I have to trade on those. So I'll probably just be like taking a small trade just to count it as a trade and then locking it up so that I can get to the payout on those. So one thing if you guys have watched me trade, I typically like trading levels and watching for liquidity sweeps. So I have the overnight session high and lows marked. I have like previous week point of control, previous week high, Friday's value area high, point of control. Like those are all levels that I typically watch. But again, with the contract rollover, I don't know how valid I guess they're going to be today. So I'm not going to take like immediate trades off of those based on levels and volume. Kind of try to pay attention to price action today and be patient, see what the market brings us this morning. My weekend was nice and relaxing, Paul. Spent some time on Saturday is kind of when we gave my husband his gifts for Father's Day. He's gotten into whiskey lately, so I got him a little torch, I don't know, for like smoked old fashions. So he tried that out this weekend. We had fun with those. Watched a movie on Saturday together, and then just hung out Sunday. Went to church with the family and kind of relaxed. Nothing too crazy. I'm not a big fan of going out to eat anyway. Just having 3 kids, it's not very relaxing to like go sit at a restaurant with little kids. But even more so on holidays. So we didn't go out to eat or anything. Just stayed home. My son, my 10-year-old, has gotten really into cooking. Like, we go to the library a lot as a family, and he chooses cookbooks as his books to check out, and he'll sit there and read them. It's adorable. So he picked out a pie recipe that he wanted to make for his dad. So we made a dulce de leche banana pie that was pretty good. What about you guys? Anyone do anything fun for Father's Day weekend? Or anything fun in general? It's kind of been rainy here in Texas too. I'm in Houston for the last week pretty much. It's been raining. So it kind of eliminates a lot of the activities we can do outside. Around this time of year, we like to go to the beach and hang out by the pool, and we have season passes to a water park nearby. So all those things kind of were out the window. Couldn't do any of that stuff. Good morning. Looks like we have a couple more people tuning in. Say hi. Say good morning. How's everyone doing? Also, while we are waiting for the market to open up, if you don't mind, while you're down there saying good morning, click like. Click the like button. That'll help out a lot. Help spread the word to YouTube that we're live. And help me with my channel since I'm new. All right, we got the market opening in about 3 minutes. And if you're just jumping on, what I was saying is, there's a lot of reasons I feel like to be cautious today. Contracts still half on last month, half on September. No news today. War stuff going on in the Middle East. Just lots of reasons to be cautious about what the market brings us today. All right, couple more minutes. So we got some levels we're watching today. Again, I'm curious to see how valid they are with the contract rollover. But we have been pretty much up all night. Here was the open here, and it's just been a slow grind up. So if we continue that, maybe look for a little pullback and then get long. We'll see. Got a couple levels marked off for possible pullback. The London low is right here, which is also in line with that overnight VWAP. So that could be a possible spot for a good liquidity grab and then bounce. But we'll see how it reacts at that level before immediately jumping into a long, because that's a pretty long way to fall. If it goes all the way there and it doesn't have a good strong reaction up, I wouldn't be super quick to jump into a long. We'll see. What are you guys thinking today in terms of price action? Long, short? Do you think it's going to be a good day or kind of a weird day with all the news and contract rollover and stuff? Or lack of news, I guess? What are your guys' thoughts? If we have any dads in the chat, happy belated Father's Day. Hope you guys had a good weekend. All right, we got the market open. Yep, Beverly, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's been an uptrend all morning. So if we can get a pullback, maybe down to somewhere in this region, like I was saying before, grab this liquidity over here, bounce off of VWAP and head higher. That'd be nice. So far, it's making a higher high for the day so far. This was the previous high overnight. This purple line was the anchored VWAP from the London session, so I had a pretty good nice bounce there. That white line above it was a higher time frame trend line that I showed earlier from the daily. It's a pretty good clean trend line from the higher time frame. We're just going straight up. So if we are to look left, that previous high area is like 22,300. Hopefully we get a pullback before we go all the way up there. All right, let's start drawing these 15-minute lines, 15-minute opening range high. And then here's that 15-minute opening range low so far, right there at that big green candle. And then I'll throw on my anchored VWAP for the New York session right at that opening candle and make it blue. All right, there we go. I'd love to see a little bit of a pullback, grab some liquidity, and then we can get long. I don't want to jump into anything. It's just going straight up. If we come back down to the bottom of this 15-minute opening range, that's also the London anchored VWAP, so that's a possibility for a bounce long. Or I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback, maybe down to this area. Grab some of this liquidity here from the London session low, and then also that overnight VWAP, which is the blue line. I think I'd rather take a long from a pullback to that area. Where are you guys tuning in from this morning? Where are you guys located? I'll delete this London high level since that's not really accurate anymore. Kind of just in the way. Canada, Huntsville, Alabama. Awesome. Not terribly far from me in Houston, considering we have people from all over the world. I figured, David. I figured that was Ontario. Kind of wondering how the volume's going to be and just the volatility in general. Having it be no news Monday and then still with the contract rollover. Some are on the old contract. I'm trading right now with a Top Step combine, like I was saying, and it is already on the U contract. And all of my Project X prop firms are, like Top One Futures is, and I think the Futures Desk is too. So I think most people are rolled over to the U, but there's some that are on the last one. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Southern California. Woohoo! That's where I'm originally from. I was born in Newport Beach and went to school. I grew up in the Riverside area. Kind of just chopping around in a small range so far. Where are we at? 86 points. I guess that's not too bad for a 15-minute range. Not really moving a whole lot though. This red circle area is kind of what I'm watching for, hoping for a pullback there with a good strong bounce out of it. That's where the London overnight low is. Lots of liquidity to the left. And it's also in line with that overnight VWAP. So I feel like that'd be a good spot for a bounce potentially. Let's see what we get though. Good morning, Ha Mama. I like that name. Dana Point. I know exactly where that is. Used to go there with my family a lot for the beach. and my grandparents used to live there. Just being patient this morning, waiting for a good setup. Let me know if anyone's taking a trade. Is everyone flat so far, staying patient, or did you see something that worked for you? Starting to pull back up to that 15-minute opening range high. Let's see where we go from here. Yep, staying patient. Nothing that really works for my setup at this point. I wouldn't really want to take a short from here because there's not a whole lot of resistance at this level other than this one 15-minute opening range candle. Beyond that, I mean, the next resistance is like 22,300. It's way up there. So taking a short doesn't really make sense for me. And I would not want to take a long here. I'd like to see a pullback first. Well, glad to have you here then, Ha Mama. How long have you been trading? I see a couple of ladies in the chat. I am going to post in the comments a Discord group that a couple of friends and I started for a women's only Discord, women's only trading. If you're interested, come join us. There's a lot of Discords out there that, I don't know, it's fun to have it be women only. Just kind of a safe space to not have men and be able to just kind of feel comfortable being a beginner, asking questions. If you would like to join us, we'd love to have you. I just posted that link in the comments. $8 months, awesome. Well, thanks. So my background is I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach. Like that's what I did for 22, 23 years before trading. So I'm a coach. Like I don't know. I like coaching. And I've noticed that it comes out a lot in my trading. Like I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not the best trader. But I definitely know more than some people. And if I know 20% more than someone else, then I'm happy to share what I know. And I love to teach. I love to help. So I guess it comes out on these streams. So absolutely, if you have any questions, anything you want me to like expand on, put it in the chat. Even if you're a beginner and you feel like it's a dumb question, it's not. I'm happy to help. especially when price is slow like this and there's not really any trade setting up yet. It's kind of just chopping around up here. I'm hoping that it pulls back, because we have to zoom out to like the 1 hour time frame to see any resistance. I mean, there's a little bit there right here from Wednesday's high last week. I'm hoping it rejects so that we can get in on a long from a pullback. If it does not reject here and it just continues a slow grind up, then, I mean, there's not much. 22,300 is kind of the next area I see, this general region. Right there. So hopefully we'll get a pullback. And if we do, this green line, or sorry, green, I know my colors, purple. This purple line is the London anchored VWAP. We're breaking out a little bit here. I'd love to get a pullback closer to this area. So the 15-minute opening range is set. This candle is technically breaking above. I don't like to take 15-minute opening range breakouts until they've been confirmed. So that 1 minute candle kind of faked out so far, and it's coming back down. So if we were to take a 15-minute opening range breakout, I'd like to see it close above, possibly come back down and retest before we go long. That'd be ideal. But so far, it's not looking like there's a whole lot of momentum to the upside for a long. Well, Mama, glad to have you as a subscriber. Thanks for coming. All right, let's see if we get a rejection here. Hopefully that was a little fake out. Get a pullback maybe to like opening range low or this area, and then go long from there. I wouldn't want to short yet. I mean, you could take a short to the bottom of the range, but I mean, we've been buying all New York Open so far, so it wouldn't make sense to short right now. Although the risk to reward on that is good. Put your stop loss above that wick high. It's a 3-to-1 risk to reward down to the bottom of the range. But there's not a whole lot of confluence really for a short right now. So other than the fact that the risk to reward on it is good, there's not very many other reasons to take a short right now. Yeah, I like volume profile. That's how I typically draw my support and resistance lines. All right, getting a pullback. So what I would be looking for a potential long is a pullback to one of these levels, the 15-minute opening range low, or possibly like VWAP, London low area, somewhere in this area. And then a confirmation with a good bounce, a strong buy up out of it. So we got our 15-minute range set, still kind of just chopping around. What's our range here? So far we're about 94 points. I feel like a normal like average day is around like 200 by the time the 60-minute initial balance has been set. So not a whole lot of volatility so far, which I expected. Like I said, there's no news events today. And then with the rollover, we're kind of split between two contracts right now. And that's the stuff that I was saying right when I logged on to be careful of. Since volume is lower, it's going to be super wicky like that today. So I would recommend you guys size down for sure. Maybe less than normal. Just that random 1 minute candle that wicked up out of nowhere. Watch out for that. Definitely set your stop losses today too. I mean, it's good to do that every day for risk management because Trump could tweet something at any time. But I would say today even more because volume is going to be low. If there's any like news release about war or tariffs or, you know, all that stuff going on, you could definitely liquidate an account if you don't have a stop loss set. It could happen quickly. So I don't normally, I don't enter trades based on fair value gaps, but right here, that is a pretty nice fair value gap on that opening candle. So getting a pullback to this area, somewhere around the 15-minute opening range low before we go long, that'd be nice. I was drawing this line, this red region earlier. We could also potentially get a pullback to this area to go long. Couple spots I'm keeping my eye on. Yeah, I see that high volume node you're talking about, Ha Mama. I don't always look at the visible range volume profile on the 1 minute just because it doesn't give a whole lot of data. I like to use it on the higher time frames, although it definitely can give confluence on the lower time frames too. Like if I zoom out a little bit, this high volume node is in line with the VWAP and kind of that pullback area that I marked with that red circle. So yeah, that could provide a little bit more confluence too. Good consolidation region from pre-market, and price does like to return to those high volume areas. So it was resistance for like an hour. That could be a good spot for a pullback as new support, and then long from there. That would be cool. We'll see. I'd love to actually get a pullback. I know that's what a lot of us are waiting for. Right now, it's kind of just a slow grind up. It'd be nice if we had a chance to actually enter. I will say, though, that it's nice treating with you guys. Like, even though you're just in the chat, but kind of having similar trade plans. Like Beverly said, she's being patient, waiting for a pullback. A couple other people said that in the chat too. I know sometimes when I'm trading by myself, it's harder. Like, it's harder to be patient. Sitting there feeling like I'm going to miss out on the trade or FOMO or whatever. All right, well, that slow grind up is just the name of the game today, I guess. I haven't looked at Bookmap yet. Let's see where we're at there. What kind of orders do we have? We have quite a few up at like 180. And then a lot higher at like 275. But 180 is the next level. Bookmap definitely supports longs. It looks like most of the volume is higher. So longs are the play. Just got to find a spot to get in. So now that we're obviously holding above the 15-minute opening range high, we did have a small retest and break higher there. So I did miss that trade. I typically like to trade the 15-minute opening range breakouts. I think I was waiting more for a bigger pullback. So I missed that one. Did anyone else get in the 15-minute orb breakout trade? That would have been a good one. Yeah, Hamama, if you're talking about what I think you are, the like volume profile for the session, I do use that, the session volume profile. I have an indicator for that. I don't use it for like the current session necessarily, but I do look at the previous session, like Friday, for example, and then I'll mark off the point of control, value area high, value area low. So that's the 70% range that you're talking about. Keep moving this line up for the 60-minute initial balance range. So like I said on Bookmap, there's those orders at 22,180-ish. See if we get a pullback from there, or if it grabs those yet. Where are you at, chat? Anyone taking any trades yet? How is everyone so far? Hopefully staying green. Ah, there's the news that you guys are talking about. Yep. All right, so we're starting to get a pullback. Now that we have a little bit more information with this New York anchored VWAP, which is the blue line, that's actually right in line with that 15-minute opening range high. So that could be a potential spot for a pullback to enter along. I'd be kind of looking at that. Good morning, G-Man. Yeah, I do. I trade just the NASDAQ. Every once in a while, I'll take a trade on gold, but not that often. That's usually in the Asia session if I do. I could see where potentially in the future, 5 to 10 years down the road, once I'm like super consistent, super profitable as a trader, and I could do this in my sleep, maybe adding more different instruments. But for now, I think mastering one is what I'm going to be doing. When my attention is divided between too many different things, I think it'll make it harder. Oh no, D. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thanks for tuning in. Where did you go wrong on the blowing your account with the war news, D? Did you not have a stop loss set? Did you get tilted and overtrade? What happened? I've done all of the above, by the way. Oversized, overtraded, not set stop losses, averaged down into positions, all the stuff you're not supposed to do. I've done it all. No trades so far this morning. When we opened, I was thinking longs at the open, but I was hoping for a pullback. Never got it. We did have a nice little 15-minute opening range breakout and retest. I didn't get in there. I feel like that was a little bit of a missed trade. But again, I was hoping for a little bit more of a pullback, so didn't get in there. Now at this point, we're just stuck in a slow grind up. Got to find a spot to enter. Kind of watching for this red circle area because that's, I feel like some pretty good confluence with the New York anchored VWAP right in line with that 15-minute opening range high. That'd be a good general area for a pullback bounce. Yep. Greedy and oversizing. Yep, I've done that too. And it happens a lot faster when there's news like that and it's just moving so fast that your brain, anxiety, greed, oversizing, all those emotions that you're having, it makes you slower to react in terms of buying and selling. So before you know it, you blew your account and lost your chance to close out your trade or whatever. Kathleen, I agree. The slow grind, because I feel like I'm missing out, if we're just going to continue a slow grind up all day, and I'm thinking I should have gotten in back here or whatever, or what if I did get back in back here. So that's where it definitely helps having you guys in the chat kind of in a similar situation and helps be patient. Because I know that as soon as I just randomly enter a long due to FOMO, it's gonna pull back. And then I'm gonna be mad that I didn't wait. And then I'm gonna be down a couple $100 in my account and extra mad. And that's what leads to those tilt moments, right? It's funny, I actually did an interview with my mentor a couple weeks ago, and he challenged me. He said, have you ever had a no trade day? And I said, no, I haven't. I think I've always let maybe boredom get to me, or like FOMO, or whatever you want to call it, but I've never been able to sit at my computer for like 2 hours straight and not take a trade. My brain like starts to find some reason to enter, and I start making up confluences and stuff. So it kind of got me thinking about like, man, maybe I should have a day where I just don't take a trade, not on purpose, but if my setup doesn't show up, then I should be okay with not taking a trade. And if you think about it, not taking a trade means you made $0, which is a whole lot better than taking a dumb FOMO trade and losing a couple $100, right? I'd rather be flat and break even than red. And yeah, and live to trade another day. That's the truth. So be patient, Kathleen. We're in this together. If the setup doesn't show up, maybe it'll be a no trade day. We can all give each other virtual high fives and be like, yeah, I'm good with $0. That's a whole lot better than red. Come back tomorrow and find another one. While we're waiting for a trade, you guys, if you haven't already, go like the stream. Help spread the word, since I'm a newer channel. And we got all the time in the world right now since there's no setups yet. All right. So if you were here a couple minutes ago, I was talking about how there were all those orders at 180 on Bookmap. I don't know if it actually grabbed them or if it just served as resistance, but that's kind of where we're pulling back, is right around 180. So let's see if we actually get a pullback to somewhere in this area, or if the slow grind up is gonna continue. Let's see. Let's see what else we got on Bookmap. So we have a pretty big amount of orders at like 22,120, which is right around here. We have another decent amount of orders around 22,100, which would be nice. That's kind of what I'm talking about with that anchored VWAP and 15-minute opening range high area. If we got down there, that'd be a good potential for a long. Yeah, Coach said, I was saying that a couple minutes ago, I missed that 15-minute opening range breakout trade. I saw it in hindsight, but it was too late to enter because we were already up here. But when we broke out of that 15-minute opening range high, I think I was looking for a bigger pullback, and I didn't really pay attention to the fact that it like bounced exactly off of it. That's all right. Bouncing off of the previous day high. Like Friday's high? I have Friday's previous day high down at 920. 21,920. Which previous day high are you talking about? There was a high. Oh, you're on the new contract. Gotcha. Yeah, I was saying that earlier. These like session volume profile, like value area high, value area low, those levels that I marked off, they might not be super valid because they're from Friday on the last contract. So kind of just paying attention to like this morning's levels right now. Where is your previous day high on the new contract? I didn't switch it over this morning. I do have it saved over here though. So that, yeah, right at like 156. So that's the U contract, rejecting there. All right, let's see. So we're about 42 minutes in. We still have about 18 minutes until the initial balance is set. Yeah, I hate rollover too. It's funky. There's like, it's hard to tell which one you should be using and if your levels are valid because some people are trading on different contracts. Today's the only day where it's kind of split, right? Like tomorrow it'll be back to 100% everyone on one contract on the new one. And then tomorrow we have some news events too. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think there's news. Today there was none other than random announcements about like war and stuff, but nothing that was scheduled. So Tuesday we have retail sales. Wednesday we have FOMC statement, so that could be a big one. Thursday markets are closed, and then Friday there's nothing big. So Tuesday and Wednesday could be better with everyone on the new contract and then more news. All right, let's see if we start getting a rejection here, hoping for a pullback. And then if we are to continue higher, this is that higher time frame area that I marked off when I zoomed out to the 4 hour. That's a potential resistance area up there. So we'd like to see a pullback before we get there. While we're waiting, I'm gonna go back to the new contract chart and check out the session volume profile, see if there's anything on like point of control or anything that stands out here. No, these levels are all still lower. Nothing that really like is close to our current price action trading. While we're kind of waiting for some of our levels to get hit and a possible pullback or like more information, what kind of questions do you guys have? If anything, anything you want me to go over? Coach Set, I know you made a comment about the initial balance and like studying it and wanting to try it out today. Have you traded it at all before? Sounds like you trade the 15-minute range, but not sure if you traded the initial balance. Cool. In my opinion, the 15-minute opening range, like if you trade that setup, it's very similar to the initial balance. Because you can still get fake outs on the 15-minute opening range, and then you can still get like breakout retests. That's pretty much what you're looking for in the 60-minute initial balance trades. And just instead of a fake out, they call it a failed auction. So my like best A+ setup that I would take 10 out of 10 times is if there's a liquidity sweep plus a failed auction. So like, for example, obviously this wouldn't happen right now because we're way up at the top of the range, but like if this was our 60-minute opening range low and we like came down and grabbed some of this liquidity here and then closed back within the range, like grabbed this liquidity and then had a strong bounce back up, that would be a perfect failed auction setup. Grab some liquidity, close back below, fake people out. That's my favorite trade right there. Liquidity sweep plus failed auction all day. I'm going to delete this purple anchored VWAP. That's from the London session. So we have this anchored VWAP from the New York session is kind of close-ish to that 15-minute opening range low. And then the overnight VWAP is kind of down towards the bottom of the range. So it's nice that those have some confluence. Although if we were to get a pullback all the way down to the bottom of the range, that would look bad. I wouldn't be interested in longs if we dropped all the way down there, at least right now, depending on how quick it happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, is the price going to take liquidity from December 17th? Let me go out to the daily. December 17th, where's that? Right there. Well, I mean, yeah. 22,424. I don't know if it'll happen today, but at some point. The level I have marked off is more in this area. I feel like that would be the next level to pay attention to. 22,240 and possibly higher. That would be the range. Although, I mean, today's kind of been slow. So unless we have some sort of catalyst to start to move it, I don't know if it has the momentum to move all the way up there today. But yeah, that'd be a nice setup if we get maybe like a pullback to VWAP or 15-minute opening range somewhere in this area and then higher. That would be pretty. But we're not getting much momentum in either direction, really. Yeah, buyers are not really stepping up to cross over this level. So, who knows? It could be kind of a consolidation chop and then just explode up, or it could be a sign of weakness for a pullback. Best thing to do is wait and be patient. Wait and be patient and drink some coffee while we wait. Last week sometime, I think it was on one of my streams, I was talking to you guys, asking you what you put in your coffee, how you take your coffee. Mine is always lukewarm. I forget about it. Like, it's been sitting next to me. Forgot it was there. Now it's room temperature. I hardly ever drink hot coffee. All right, come on, pullback. Let's go. See if we can get to VWAP or 15-minute opening range high, somewhere around there. I wouldn't enter immediately, though. I like to kind of mark my levels and like consciously see where we might pull back, but then wait for the reaction. Because if we're just like plummeting and buyers haven't shown up yet, I don't want to try to catch a falling knife. So if we were to get a pullback and then a bounce, that's when I would enter, after the bounce. And I say that because I know there's like a 10-second delay on YouTube, so I don't want anyone to like see price hit that level and enter without waiting for a confirmation that buyers are going to step back up. Cream and Sugar, Coffee Mate. I like Coffee Mate around the holidays because they have those fun like creme brulee flavors, and I don't know, sometimes I'll do like the peppermint and stuff. But I get tired of just the normal French vanilla or whatever all the time. I usually do the sugar-free like Torani syrups, and I'll get different flavors like the salted caramel and stuff like that. And then half and half. That's what I put in my coffee. Or heavy cream. Yeah, half and half, either one. Whatever I buy. Fixed range volume profile from the 7th of April to today. Why the 7th of April? Was that a previous high? 7th of April. Just wondering what the significance was of that date. Was that the low? Whoa. Yeah, I guess you were doing it from the low. Yeah, there's lots of different places you can anchor those volume profiles. It's a pretty cool tool. I like to do it from kind of what you're talking about, like a really big swing low or like all-time high or something like that. Oh, we got another sugar-free syrup fan. What's your favorite flavor, Stefan? Or Steven? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. All right, I got about 4 minutes until the initial balance is set. That's kind of what I'm waiting for at this point. Since like I said before, I don't want to say this looks weak because this could be a consolidation for just a bust out move higher, or it could be showing weakness since buyers are not stepping up. It could be getting ready for a pullback. But either way, when that initial balance is set, we'll get a little bit more information. And what I would be looking for is a possible breakout retest with volume, like with some momentum. If it's kind of just choppy, then I wouldn't be convinced that it's going to go higher immediately. Or if we get a failed action. So kind of a breakout to the upside and fake out with some strong selling volume. That would be a failed action. So looking for either of those as we come to the end of this 60-minute initial balance. Yeah, I like the French vanilla sugar-free, and then this, I think it's a sea salt caramel. That one's pretty good. Or salted caramel, I don't remember what it's called. G-Man, learning that initial balance. So honestly, this one's gonna be a little bit harder. Like sometimes it's a liquidity grab and it closes back within the range and it's just easy. Like I don't want to say easy, but there's lots of confluence and I'm confident in it. If there was a failed auction on this one, I might be less confident unless there's like strong selling. But there's not a whole lot of resistance, like immediate resistance and liquidity for it to grab to the left left right now. So if it's kind of just like chopping around up and down here, even if it like technically closes below, if there's not momentum to the downside in selling, it would be a hard failed auction to take, in my opinion. Like there wouldn't be a whole lot of confidence or confluence in that trade. But the same is true for a possible like breakout retest. There's not really any confluence for that either. Like momentum, I guess, not necessarily confluence, just no momentum in either direction. So I'd like to see some sort of shift in momentum. Initial balance trades are tough when there's like that chop where you're like, is it going to break out? Is it going to be a failed auction? I don't know. I can get chopped out on those ones. So hopefully we'll get some momentum that like gives us a reason to be confident about the trade. If you guys haven't already, go like the video. Give me a thumbs up. It helps out more than you know. All right. I guess I technically shouldn't have moved that candle. The opening range high is right there. So getting a little fake out right now. But that's kind of what I was talking about, G-Man, where it's not like strong rejection yet. I would want to see some selling pressure. So I know G-Man and Coach Set were talking about initial balance. Does anyone else trade the initial balance? Failed auctions or trend continuation? So on this, I mean, the only real thing about a possible failed auction short right now would be the fact that the risk to reward is good. Like you could potentially take a little paper cut if you want to put the stop loss above that wick high and target the New York VWAP. But there's no real other resistance to the left to mark your stop loss off from. So the only confluence really is the fact that we have this line drawn from the initial balance. That's it. So I would want to see, if I'm going to take a failed auction, it would be like strong selling pressure and then maybe some sort of retest and continuation lower. And what I would do is maybe enter like on this retest and then put the stop loss here on that wick high. Because I would have had this candle right here to show that like sellers are stepping up, and then I wait for a pullback to get a better entry, and then I have some structure that I can put my stop loss at. Like I'm if anyone's just looking at their screen, I'm not entering a short right now. I'm just kind of playing out like if I was to take a failed auction, that would be my thought process. Because right now we don't have a clear stop loss other than that previous wick high, but there's not a whole lot of selling pressure to like convince me that we should be taking shorts right now. So for now, we wait for more information. So while we're kind of sitting here, the schedule this week. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to be live with Real Deal Futures on his channel. So I won't be here tomorrow. I will be here Wednesday. And then the market is closed for the holiday on Thursday. So I'll be back Friday. So my schedule live here is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. And if you want to catch me on Tuesday, head over to Real Deal Futures, his channel. Man, there's just no movement. This is like a slow, painful grind. No momentum in either direction. And this is that like chop that I was talking about. Like above, below, that initial balance line. So yeah, technically we're closing above the initial balance high, but there's no like retest with a move higher. We're not getting any momentum upside or any selling pressure to show a failed auction. So don't get chopped up in this, you guys. Wait for some sort of move. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards a failed auction. Because there's a lot of resistance higher on the higher time frames. And it's kind of just been a slow grind up all morning with not a lot of volume supporting it. So I feel like we're ready for a dump. I'm thinking we're gonna possibly be going short here. Let's see what that stop loss would be if we put it above that previous wick high. Still good risk to reward. And then what I do on these is I'll take a few contracts and then I'll take some of it off at the midpoint of the range or the anchored VWAP somewhere in the middle and then target the rest lower. Target the rest to the other end of the range and just kind of trail my stop and see how far we can go. All right, I'm going to enter short, you guys. It looks like we're getting a failed action. So my entry is 183.8. I'll move my trading screen over here in a second. I had it on a different screen. So starting to get some strong selling pressure. I'll take some of it off at VWAP and then, depending on price, possibly trail it for lower, but we'll see. So if you guys missed it earlier, I told you I'm trading a combine today because I finished out my Top One Futures account this morning and locked it out because I've hit my consistency target for that account. I just need to trade a couple more days just to like hit my 10 days of trading for their payout rules. So I don't want to mess it up. So in the next couple days on that account, I'm just going to be taking like tiny trades just to count it as a trading day and maintain my consistency so I can get to that payout. Top One Futures is the one that I am at the payout. I just need to like hit the 10 days. Top Step is the challenge, the combine that I'm doing, trading today. So I sized up a little bit bigger than normal just because it is a challenge account. So that's my entry, 183.8. I'm going to put my stop loss right above that wick high. Hopefully we start to reject. We got a little bit of momentum to the downside earlier. Oops, wrong screen. There we go. Now we got to get some continuation. I'll remove this red circle. So we had that rejection to kind of show that sellers were here, came back up, retested that initial balance high, and now we're getting another rejection. Let's see if we can get some continuation lower. What do we have on Bookmap? So we still have quite a few orders at 22,120, which is just a little bit below this VWAP. And then quite a few at 22,100 also, which is right here at the 15-minute opening range high. So those both would be potential targets. If it does start to continue down, then I'll definitely take some off close to this anchored VWAP area and then possibly hold a couple for either the opening range high, or if we get some heavy momentum down, somewhere around the opening range low is a possibility too. But that would be like if the tide turns and we start to get heavy for sure. All right, so let me set this at 22,100, but I'll take a little bit off earlier too. I do have some XFAs with Top Step already that I traded earlier today, but I wanted to do these combines to get a couple more that I can copy trade, get them all copy trading together. So that's why I'm trading these. Trading them a lot more aggressively than normal. I don't usually do 10 contracts. My anchored VWAP from the New York Open is right about 22,134, 135, somewhere in that region. Come on. Start going lower. Still rejecting that initial balance high for now. I'd like to see some momentum to the downside though. I don't like that it's not continuing lower. This slow grind kind of price action is always frustrating. Drop it down. Let's go. Let's go. No. Man, see those wicks? That's what I was saying at like right at market open. I said, be careful of those wicks. There it is right there. See? Volume is low. Some random order comes in. Wicks us out. All right. Stopped out on that one. Yeah, I agree. It's looking weak. Yep, wicked out. I wonder if that is going to be the fake out and now it's going to continue lower. That would be annoying. Yeah. I kind of set myself up for that emotionally this morning. So I feel okay about it because I knew coming in, like, volume is going to be weird because there's no news. We have the rollover. So price action is probably going to be slow and wicky. So I'm okay with it. It's not like I'm feeling that frustrated and like needing to jump in on another trade. It's just a little annoying, you know? If it wicks you out and then continues in the direction of your trade. That's why I said earlier, size down today, be careful. Put those stop losses in. Random news could come at any time. Coach set, you're getting in back in now? Or you're waiting for a re-entry? I personally usually try to avoid like getting right back in because I know that's when I get tilted. So if we get more new information, like what that would look like for me is if we come down and make a new lower low, like we break below that and then maybe come back up and down. That could be a possibility. But I wouldn't want to just like jump in here. I just know that's when it starts messing with my emotions and I blow accounts. $21,183. Yeah, I was thinking below this low right there, so like 177. If it breaks below there and then possibly retest higher to get a little bit of a better entry. Because if we were to just enter on the breakout right here around 178, our stop loss would have to be up there above that wick high. And now we're getting to where that's a little bit of a bigger risk. Because if we exit at that New York anchored VWAP, that's barely a 1-to-1 risk to reward. I don't love that as much. So I think I would look for a little bit of a lower low and then a retest before continuation down. So hopefully our entry could be a little more like up here, something like that. That's just my thought process. But I know everyone sees things differently, so whatever works with your setup and your system, go for it. So haven't made a lower low yet. This general area here would kind of be what I would be looking for. If it were to like come down below that and then come back up, then we could enter a short for a failed auction. Hopefully we start to get some momentum. If not, it's just an ugly day. I might call it. Let's see if we can get what I was talking about, where we break a little bit lower, show that sellers are taking back control, retest it a little bit higher, get a better entry, and then ride that short. See what we're gonna get. I'm curious, you guys, in the chat, do you trade prop firms? Or do you trade personal accounts? Or are some of you still paper trading? Uh-oh. That's not good. Did Joey take a failed auction trade? Prop firms, both personal and prop firms, Nico? Tradeify, Apex, take profit. Cool. I've done take profit in the past. I'm not a big fan. I know once you get to their payout phase, like the pro accounts, you can get the daily payouts, which is awesome. But I don't like the intraday drawdown to get there. There's a lot of other prop firms that have daily payouts once you get to the funded stage, but they have end of day drawdown, and I prefer that a lot more. But I know there's so many good options out there. Whatever rules work best for your trading style, go with that one. Apex has the intraday drawdown too. It's just it doesn't work well with my trading style. I like to find one setup and like sit through and let the trade play out. So there are times when I'll like be in profit and then it comes back down and hits my trailing stop loss. And intraday, that just doesn't work. You need to be taking like little tiny scalps and take your profit off at the top of your trade to pass those intraday ones. And I'm just not good at those. So I have this white line drawn here for what I'm kind of watching for like a lower low, for a possible break and then retest higher to enter. There's also all these wicks to the left here. So this like general area, if it breaks below there, I could see us moving short, moving lower. We could potentially enter down here and then like on the break lower and then put our stop loss here. That's a possibility. We're still not seeing like strong momentum in either direction though. You wanted to like TPT? Yeah, I know some people don't have great success or great luck, great experience with their customer service or lack thereof. Like if you don't have problems with your account and you don't need support, then they can be great. But if you actually want to talk to someone, it can be a little frustrating. Yeah, not a fan of take profit. Not bad mouthing them. Like, I mean, lots of people take payouts from them, but I like top one futures just because they're rules I feel like are pretty fair, even though I know they've had to change their rules a lot because maybe they made them too fair and too easy. But I actually like the futures desk. If you guys like take profit traders rules, but you're not a fan of the intraday drawdown, check out the futures desk. I know they're not quite as well known, but they have a very similar setup where you pass an eval that takes 5 days, 7 days, whatever like your pace is for the evaluation. And then from there, you trade to get yourself a buffer. You create a buffer, and then from there you can take daily withdrawals. So pretty much identical to Take Profit Trader, but it's end of day instead of intraday. Yeah, the 20% consistency is a little bit of a bummer, which I'm in that situation right now where like I've hit my consistency, but I have to wait 10 days of trading to take it out. So I do like the daily payout options, which is why I like the futures desk as well. Just kind of trying to split up, diversify a little bit. So not all my eggs are in one basket. All right, so it's kind of starting to do what I talked about, where it did make a lower low. It didn't break below these lows, but it did break below this low right there. And now it's kind of starting to retest and go higher. See if we can get a little bit higher so we have a good risk to reward on this for a possible short. Yeah, you're welcome. I think they have a deal going on right now. I don't remember what the percentage is off, but if you use code Krista, there's a percentage off, and then I think they're doing free static drawdown upgrades. I don't remember what their promotion is right now, but I like their format. All right, so we hit that initial balance high again, starting to reject a little bit. I mean, a tiny bit. I shouldn't even say that tiny little red candle is a rejection. Wait for a little bit of confirmation there. Coach said, yeah, the futures desk does daily payouts. So once you get to like their funded stage, so it's very similar to Take Profit, where you have to do the eval, which is like 5 days, 7 days, depending on how fast you trade through it. And then once you get to their like past their eval, you trade to get a buffer depending on the size of the account you choose. So I did the 50K account. So I had to do a $2,000 buffer, and then you take that into their like live brokerage stage. Once you get there, you can take daily payouts. Yeah, it's pretty cool. What's up, Luna? Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, Intuition, I am on the new contract. That's, I'm trading a Top Step account right now, and that's what they're on, is the MNQU. So I guess that wick high got me out, but it wasn't on the old contract. That's a bummer. Even more reason to be frustrated. All right, you guys, I'm entering short. It did exactly what I kind of laid out here. It made a lower low from here, came up and retested higher, rejected that initial balance, and it's coming down again. So, like I've said in the past, I'll try the same idea twice. If I get stopped out twice, then I will cancel the idea. So I'm going to take some off here at these wicks to the left, which is also in line with this anchored VWAP if we ever get down there. I'll take a portion off there, and then depending on momentum, if we start to get heavy, I'll take some more off at this 15-minute opening range high. Are you always shorting back to the New York VWAP, or are you shorting against the daily move? If you're shorting against the daily move. Yeah, that's a good target. So since the trend in general is up all last night and this morning, we are going against the trend. So for me, it doesn't make sense to like aim for a home run trade in the complete opposite direction. I just feel like that's not realistic. So taking a shorter move, like taking most of my profits off there, kind of just expecting if the trend was to continue up, then we're just shorting like a possible retest to go higher. But depending on price action, if it starts to get really heavy, like a price just drops, then I'll take some off here, but leave a runner. So in this case, I kind of just see how price plays out. If it's like a slow grind down to my target, I'll probably just take the rest off, because that means maybe it's just a pullback to continue higher. If it gets heavy, I'll target more. Hopefully that answers your question. What connection do you use on Futures Desk? I use Project X. I really like Project X. I've gotten to where I don't want to trade with anyone who has Trade of 8 or NinjaTrader anymore. I like Project X a lot better for their like copy trading and bracket orders and the daily lockout features and stuff. I trade a lot better on Project X. The Futures Desk too, like not to have this be a sales pitch about them, but they have a really cool journaling feature. Like it's pretty much like a TradeZilla built into their dashboard. So every trade you take, you can take notes, you can like log it under which setup or strategy you're trading off of, and then you can go back and see your data just like you would with TradeZilla. So that's pretty cool. And from my understanding, they're working on something to where you can like integrate your other prop firms into that same journaling dashboard that they have. So it would essentially replace TradeZilla. I don't know how far off that is, but I know that's something they've said is in the works, which is really cool. Yeah, I really like Project X. If you've never used it, I mean, I know there's always a learning curve with something new. If you've been trading on a different platform for a long time, there's going to be a little bit of a level of discomfort in the beginning. But I used to use Trade of 8. And once I learned Project X, which only took a couple days, it was pretty easy. I'll never go back. It's so much better. Now if I'm like looking into a possible new prop firm, if they don't have Project X, I won't even get a new account with them. I just realized I never brought my screen over, so I did enter this short again. And for now, I'm going to put my stop loss up there above that wick high. But hopefully we'll start to make a lower low and I'll be able to move my stop loss lower to reduce that risk. Man, we're just chopping around going nowhere right now. Come on. Let's get some momentum. To the downside, preferably. Let's go. This box region that I put here, I mean, there was a little bit of support here. Resistance, resistance. It provided some support here again. That's a lot of retests. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully if we get back down into this region, we'll actually break through it this time. That's the hope, right? Come on, let's go. Man, I feel like we've been sitting here for the last hour and price has not done anything. What time was this? 9:15 Central and it's now 10:15. Yeah, that's the last hour. It's been stuck in this range. Which is not necessarily a good thing because that means it's consolidating for a bigger move. And it could be a bigger move to the upside. Hopefully it's to the downside though. A lot of times that initial balance serves as resistance for the session. So hopefully we get some sort of rejection here. Is anyone else in a trade? You guys long? You short? What are you doing? YM is tanking. What's going on there? Yeah, sometimes I like to look at YM is not as much of a correlation with NQ. ES is, obviously. So ES is starting to go down a little bit more than NQ. Yep, YM starting to head lower. Again, not as much of a direct correlation. NQ is more of a flat flag consolidation. ES is a little bit more of a slant down. What does the 5 minute look like? 5 minute is kind of a rounded top on ES. That looks pretty weak. What's it looking like on NQ? Yep. NQ is not as convincing for going lower as ES is. Break below this yellow region, this wick here at 22,171. If we get below there, I'll feel a little bit better about our position. Still just chopping around, not really going anywhere. Volume has kind of died off a bit. If you look at this volume down here, it just like fell off a cliff. All right, starting to get that move higher. See if we can get a rejection. If not, like I said, I'll trade the same idea twice. If I get stopped out twice, then I'm done. G-Man, that's actually pretty good with the price action like it is today. Being green and not red. You should be happy with that. Back in Costa Rica, Luna. Awesome. Kathleen, I am ideally going to be going live most days. This week I'll be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So tomorrow I'm going to be live with Real Deal Futures on his channel. So if you want to join me there, you can. Wednesday I'll be back on my channel here. Thursday the market's closed. And then Friday I'll plan to be back. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week I'll be here. And then next week, same thing. I trade most days. Like I trade live most days somewhere. Just right now, as I'm building my channel, I do guest appearances some other places sometimes. And then there will be a couple weeks this summer where I'm like driving the kids to VBS or something like that. So I won't be able to go live. There's actually going to be a couple weeks this summer where I can't go live the whole week because of that. I'll keep you guys posted on that though. But the plan is to go live whenever I can. And then once school starts back up and the kids are back on a normal schedule, I'll be going live every day. That's the plan. Or most days at least. All right. I'm not feeling too confident about this failed action anymore. That slow grind up from this morning is just continuing, and there have been no pullbacks, like not even back to VWAP. Just kind of ugly. As far as going live, I am only doing the New York session. I personally do trade pre-market and Asia every once in a while. So Asia, I only trade if it's actually moving. All right, got wicked out on that one. So I'm canceling that trade idea. No more failed action for me. So going live, I only trade the New York session. I do trade Asia if it's moving. If not, I don't trade it because it just drives me crazy when it's like moving at a snail's pace. And then pre-market, I actually find like when I mark off my levels of like overnight Asia low, London high, etc., there's quite a few good liquidity sweeps. I keep saying sleeps. Liquidity sweeps in the morning if you wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. my time, Central Time. there's quite a few good setups at that time. So I do trade pre-market every once in a while. All right, so failed auction, failed twice. So at this point, what I do, because I try not to sit at the computer for hours and hours, because then I start to see trade setups that are not there, and I kind of just start to make stuff up because I'm getting bored or anxious or like, you know, that kind of stuff. So what I like to do is set alerts for levels so that I can walk away, and then when an alert comes up, I can come back and see what price is doing. So where I'm going to set my alerts are this gray shaded region, just to kind of show you guys on the higher time frame. If you go to the 4 hour, there's quite a bit of consolidation here. And the bottom of this gray region is that first wick. So I'll set an alert there, because if price starts to go into that region and possibly reject, that could be a possible like short back down to IB high. So I'll set an alert there. The other alert I will set is at VWAP. So right around here. And that I feel like is a good level because there is some liquidity here. So it could possibly like come back down and retest that area, which is also in line with VWAP, and go higher. Also having an alert there just helps me to like come look at the chart and see what price is doing, because it could possibly bounce there. Like it could possibly come back down to VWAP and bounce. Or if it's just gonna like come straight through VWAP, there would be other possible areas of bounce, like 15-minute opening range high or other spots there. So that's what I typically do when I find that I don't want to sit at the charts forever, but I still want to possibly take a trade. I'll set alerts for areas of interest. I have the alerts that go off on my phone, and I'll come back to my computer and see what price is doing. So those are a couple scenarios that I'd be looking at, you guys. Possible break up into this general region somewhere, and if there's a sell-off, possible short, or come back down here to like VWAP or one of these levels for another break higher. That's kind of what I would be looking for. So hopefully that gives you guys something to watch for. Trade safe today, you guys, with the contracts being half and half on rollover day and no news, and then a lot of background stuff going on with tariffs and war and stuff. Price action is a little bit funky today. So I would still recommend sizing down, using your stop losses. Be careful, y'all. All right, well, like I said, I will be back here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on my channel. Tomorrow, I'll be live with Real Deal Futures. So if you want to come join me there, I'd love to see you. And before you guys sign off, subscribe if you want so you can get notifications when I do post. I post my trade recaps and then different like educational videos on strategies that I use. So hopefully that'll help you guys. And then like the video too. I would love it. It'll help. Cool. Have a good day, you guys. Take care.